Folks, welcome to week 3 recap, SWG 501. Hope everyone's doing well. I really enjoyed reading your discussion posts this this week. Just finished them earlier, and I think that you all had some really insightful things to say, looking back on your own experiences, pulling out how things that would be considered under the biological section of the biopsychosocial model. I think you all did a really good job at that, teasing things out and seeing how you all felt that those experiences had affected other domains in your life was really interesting. And there's a lot of insight going out there, and I really appreciate it. And I really think that you're all starting to get how these things can be differentiated, but they overlap, which is a huge piece of this course. So I really enjoyed that. I hope you all enjoyed reading each other's and interacting with each other as well. So one thing that I wanted to chat with you about quickly is on the quizzes, differentiating between multi-systemic approach versus biosocial. Well, first of all, on the quizzes, I want to say for both modules 2 and 3, y'all did really, really well. Thank you for making my job of grading easier than it has been in some other classes. That really helps. I noticed pretty much everyone was spot on in terms of going descriptive and not giving the one word answers or and also utilizing the text material and letting me know that you had been clicking through the slides and taking notes and reading the textbook, etc. So thank you for that. That's just great. So anyways, I wanted to differentiate between the multisystemic approach and biopsychosocial. It's kind of a linguistic thing, but it's kind of a semantical thing, but it's kind of important. So the multisystemic approach, okay, we're talking about the overall model, okay, of divvying things out into biopsycho and social realms, okay, some add spiritual realm in there as well. We're talking about divvying things out, okay, in terms of the way that we conceptualize, the way that we think of an individual, okay, in order to assess where they're at. Now, when we say biopsychosocial, that can be kind of used interchangeably sometimes. We'll say multisystemic or biopsychosocial model, okay? But specifically when I say biopsychosocial, specifically when I say a biopsychosocial, okay, really important that what we're referring to is a specific assessment, okay? It's going to be a written assessment. It's something that in the field we refer to as a biopsychosocial. Has the client gone through the process of getting a biopsychosocial? For those of you in behavioral health or similar professions, if you're doing an intake, okay, and you go through a health history, you go through a mental health history, and then you go through a social contacts piece. Pretty lengthy for some, not so much for others, depending on the type of biopsychosocial. But when you're doing that, you're doing a biopsychosocial. A lot of people have done them and they don't even know it. But some of you have, some of you haven't. So just so you know what that is. So remember the definitions. Multisystemic approach leads to doing a biopsychosocial. Okay, important. So this week in the units, the modules, I would like you all to concentrate on well, one thing that starts off in the first module you're going to be looking at this week is talking about differentiating between psychology and social work. Really important, difficult for some. Social work utilizes a lot of theories from the field of psychology, but it is its own distinct field. What differentiates social work from psychology? Well, I want you to dig into the reading in the slides to try and start figuring that out. But a few words on that. Social work is, well, by definition, social. Okay, an important piece there. Psychology, by definition, psychological, cerebral. Psychology, although there is sub-genres within psychology, you talk about social psychology, things along those lines. Psychology, by definition, deals with the mental functioning of an individual. Okay, social work, on the other hand, deals with that in combination with that individual's social system. Okay, that's what makes social work so special, is that we put an individual in a larger context. Okay, so that leads me to another thing that I really want you to concentrate on, which is going to be the ecosystems model. Okay, the ecosystems model is basically the fundamental philosophy behind good social work. Okay, it's we can talk about the pie, right? The person in environment. Okay, it's that there's this individual and everything that they bring, but that they are defined, okay, as an individual based not only by what they have in their own beings, in their own psychology, but also everything around them, okay, including their family systems, their their social systems, their micro, macro, all around, okay, micro, meso, macro, okay, that means, okay, thinking about the person and everything socially moving out that affects that person's life. So social work, by definition, is different than psychology because of context. Okay, social work context. I want you to remember that and think about that. So I also want you to think about when you're reading through these modules, looking at. I think it's important to know some history of psychology. There's a YouTube link in there. Please take the time to watch that. That kind of buzzes you through, a couple hundred years of psychology in 20 minutes or less. But it's pretty good. Talks about some of the founders of some of the base theories in psychology. You got your Freud, you got your Erikson. Erikson's a really important one that we're going to be utilizing a lot because his stages of development are definitely something that to this day we utilize in looking at development, okay, in the human life cycle. Also want you to concentrate on support systems, okay, social support systems in the social module, differentiating between formal and natural supports, really important. You got formal supports, which are things like social welfare agencies, schools, anybody who's basically paid to be a support to an individual can be considered a formal support. And then you've got your natural supports, which are, friends and family. Sometimes you can think of like churches, religious organizations, things along those lines can be really good natural supports as well. So take some time picking through all of that. As always, I'm here for questions. You guys are rocking through this. I'm digging this semester so far. Lots of really, really good interaction. I noticed that some of you guys were talking about forming some study groups to go over some of the stuff in the text. That's a great idea. I think the more that you guys can do on a communal basis to help each other out, the better. That's cool. I always love it. That's a neat organic thing when I see you guys getting together like that. But yeah, again, I'm here. Anything you need, please shoot me an email, give me a call, what have you, and we'll check back with you all next week. As far as grading, grades are in. I got them in today for the quizzes and everything. It's Monday. I'll try to do them on Mondays. If not Mondays, Tuesdays, depending on my work schedule, things along those lines. But please don't freak out if it's not there on Monday. I'll get it to you on Tuesday then. So going forward. Okay, thanks everyone. See you soon.